you are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two flavor plays.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, bro.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa.
And we're live. Oh, wait. Now we're live. But Zach's doing the intro today. So welcome to the Happy Hoodlums podcast. It's your boy, Zach. Not the Meat Castle today. Kemper Woodruff, the Happy Hoodlum himself. And then our guest today, Quentin Oppenlander, Blind Barbell. So, first of all, the official Meat Castle. I'm no longer a Meat Castle. I'm just like a meat hut at this point. But Quentin is the founder of Blind Barbell himself. Been blowing up recently. Phenomenal growth on his Instagram and other social medias and stuff like that. Road to 700-pound deadlift, which I'm excited to see that happen. But we're going to start out. I want to know, we touched upon it before the podcast, but I want to know kind of like the origin story of Blind Barbell itself.
In 14, I started lifting. That's when I found out that I was like losing my vision and stuff. And actually, I got like wrecked in a football game. That's how I found out that I couldn't see. I got destroyed. And then I was like, shoot, well, I can't play football, and I couldn't play soccer. So I was like, oh, I got to do something. So I just started lifting weights, started going ham, and then had like always wanted to do social media. Had started a couple when I was younger. But then, like, when my friends found out back then, I was super embarrassed, so I stopped. I, like, deleted my accounts. And then I tried to start up again in college, but then I got married and had a baby. And I just had this itch. I was thinking about my younger self and how bad I wish I had seen someone who was going through what I was going through, you know, with vision loss or whatever, just getting after it, going crazy, motivating the heck out of people. And I was like, you know, that just needs to be me. You know, no one else is doing this, what I want to see. So I just became that. So I just changed. At the time I was like an account called like Open Fit. I'm not doing like basic home workout videos. I just said screw it, dude. That's not really me. So I changed to Blind Barbell and just open about not being able to see. I don't know why that was a thing that held me back for a long time, but just went for it. Started lifting some heavy weights and showing people who I am, and it's been clicking with people. So that's where I'm at now. Is trying to grow and grow and grow and inspire 1 million people is the goal this year. So it's gonna happen.
Hey, bro.
Dude,
I have nothing but faith in you.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, when Zach, like, because he'd mentioned you before, and
Yeah.
Zach was like my only real reference for that. And he was like, no, bro, you got to check him out. He's so cool. He's so cool. And like the first video that popped up when I went to check you out was the Daredevil video. And
yeah, dude.
right away you struck a chord with me because that was actually my favorite superhero growing up. Okay.
Let's go.
Little known fact. And I was like, what? I was like, this is sick. And then I was, listening to you and watching you. And really, it's so inspirational because there's a lot that goes into just making a video. And a lot of it, I think, for most people, because they're not like overcoming an actual physical impairment, right? It's all mental for them.
Yeah.
That they have a harder time kind of starting because everyone has this desire to be seen, but fear of how they're seen, right? And
Yeah.
so it's interesting hearing you kind of talk about you overcoming that and being driven to do that just because of the fact that you had to, that you don't know anyone else that's dealing with this. Meanwhile, in our little world over here, I've been talking to Zach and I was like, dude, regardless of anything that ever happens, with what's going on with you in your eyes,
Mhm.
like, bro, you're gonna keep kicking ass, and there's gonna be people
Yeah.
that'll love you, and I'm one of them. And so you're truly like a testament to that. And I'm
Mhm.
really curious, A, how that affected Zach, and B, what was it that pushed you over that edge? Was it just solely that, or was it you becoming a father that helped you?
Good question. Good question. So you want me to answer this? You
Yeah,
wanna hear
you
how
can
it
go into
affected
it
Zach
first,
or
and
what?
then we'll get Zach.
Yeah, we can
Well,
come
dude,
back to that.
honestly, obviously becoming a dad is a huge, huge thing. And like my daughter is just so happy and just she loves me unconditionally. Um, and I think about a world where I want her to be able to have role models that are high class individuals and who just believe in her and whatever she is and tell her that she can become something better no matter what. Because I for a long time I believed that for myself for a long time, but then there's a few years where my self confidence kind of dipped, and it's like I lost that spark in myself, and I started to see myself as a loser and someone who couldn't do these things and was never capable of those things. And like having my daughter and wanting that future so bad for her to be full of positivity, that's really what inspired me to like be the person that I am and so open about it now because I don't want her to see me be embarrassed for who I am. And I consider what I deal with pretty small, so why should I hold myself back and not help other people, who are dealing with much bigger things, be happy, be proud, and motivate themselves and push themselves as hard as they can. So yeah, being a dad was a big part of that. And now that I have a second kid on the way, it's like, man, what kind of legacy am I going to leave for them? 20 years from now, if someone like, if I, when I do blow up, someone's like, dude, is your dad's the blind Barbell? Oh my gosh. He helped me get through a really, really hard time. Like, I want that positive message to like be something they hear so they can be proud of their dad and stuff. So, a big, big piece.
Yeah, dude. Well, I don't think that there's any way, as long as you keep consistent and just being who you are, like social media aside, as long as you're just consistent in your character like you are, because by a lot of people's standards, you've already made it on social media. But you have a vision of where you're going.
Mhm.
You know, because you've allowed yourself to go there inside of yourself and find that reason so deeply that it's like you've discovered everything's inverses in life, right? So when you dig that
Mhm.
deep, you actually are really getting to the pinnacle and increasing that ceiling the deeper you dig. So I think that's beautiful. And I really asked that question because I know for me, like in becoming a father, I kind of had a similar realization where like it snapped me out of, like a funk that I was in.
Mhm.
And how old are you, bro?
I'm turning, was it 25 in a couple of weeks? Weeks?
Dude,
11 weeks? I
you're
think, yeah.
killing it. And I got one more question before I want to get to like Zach's segment, if you still remember what I was even asking, because I don't.
I kind
Um,
of remember, but
okay, then we're gonna wing it from there, baby, in true Happy Hoodlum style. I'm curious how much time it takes you to actually set up a video, and if it is a super like quick, efficient thing, like how long it took you to get to that point.
Dude, oh my gosh. So for me, when it comes to like setting stuff up, I have just enough vision, like just enough vision, like right in the middle. That if I see my phone, I can like see my phone, right? And that part for me, totally chill once I get it set up. But it takes me now because I'm in a home gym, which is a big advantage that I have. Probably about 5 to 10 minutes because now that I know where everything is, and just set the phone up. Um, I have like this foam roller I set up sideways, get it all there, get it in, and then just go for it. So now that I've been in the same gym we've been in this house for 6 months, I think. And the gym layup, once I have it set up, I don't change it. It takes just a couple
Hmm.
minutes now, and most of the editing that I'm doing I've got pretty fine tuned. So it's down to like half an hour in total from like filming to editing the stuff. So used to be
Dude,
longer.
that's incredible. But you said you're setting it up on a foam roller, like not a
Yeah.
tripod, but a foam roller.
Yeah, just a foam roller. Then I have to like have like my water bottle, and I can't drink too much water during the workout, otherwise the phone will like tip the water bottle over. So it's like a fine balance between how much hydration I can have each workout versus how much footage I want to get. So
Well,
That's
bro,
awesome.
I gotta tell you right now, that's super inspiring. And to anyone that thought they had an excuse, you're just shattering them like at a
go
rapid.
for it.
Yeah, and that's why it's like sometimes the behind the scenes is where you unlock deeper levels of your story and your inspiration. Because I've also seen, I went on your website that you're starting to get into like speaking engagements. Is that right?
Dude, honestly, I kind of threw it up there. We'll see what happens. Like, there's really this next couple months of the year is where I'm really gonna try and figure out what I'm gonna do.
Hmm.
Because I've grown really fast. And it's all what do my people want? What do my people, my audience, what do they want to see from me? Um, and I would love to get into speaking. I'm putting it up there, and I'm gonna start kind of promoting that. But that's kind of long-term goals is to be able to do that and just get in front of as many people as I can and help them out. Like I wish I had for myself. So
Well, you're doing a great job. I've mentioned Wes Watson on here like a million times, and one of the things that he talks about in his journey is that a lot of people, especially through social media, will make 100 grand, right? And now all of a sudden they want
yeah,
to do a class on like how to make money and generate money doing
yeah,
whatever, right? And
yeah,
so I think you're really going about it the most organic and honest way possible
hmm
to really reach the people that you're affecting by listening to them and just they're not tuning in for no reason, bro.
yeah,
Like you really might be the north star in someone's journey. And like I just started a job myself, but literally
mhm,
and I had put the gym on the back burner a little bit, this past week. You've made me truly look in the mirror and be like, bro, I'm getting my ass up at
yeah.
4:30 if I have to. I gotta get my ass back in
Do
the
it.
gym. No excuses, bro. So you're definitely doing your job just by being you. But
That's
Zach,
good.
how has this relationship influenced your journey, and where'd you actually meet?
So we met in a summer work experience program abbreviated to SWEP that was held by the Oregon Commission for the Blind. And so
Hmm.
he and I, uh, so what they do is essentially they get a bunch of visually impaired kids and they stick them in a college dorm uh, for a summer, for like a month, right?
Hmm.
And they find jobs for them within their interest, um, and then you work that job, and then you kind of get legitimate living experience, and you get budgeting experience, and they teach you how to live life with a visual impairment. Um, and they actually, because the counselors knew that Quentin and I both worked out, they actually put us in combined attached rooms so that we were like right next to each other, and we ended up working
Mm.
out together, and I mean that was that. Um,
Well, did they have like a gym there? How'd you guys wind up working out together?
but we were at PSU, so Portland State University, and we had access to
Mm.
their entire rec center. And so
Okay.
even though their gym was going through renovations at the time, they still had weightlifting equipment at one section of it, and so we were able to go there. And something that I never really had a grasp on before working out with him was how hard you really could work.
Mm.
Because Quentin was the first person to take me through a leg workout that made it almost impossible for me to walk downstairs. So, and like we could have taken the elevator, but we ended up taking 2 flights of stairs after this leg workout, and we were both like clinging to the handrail walking down this big ass staircase for no reason. And then we had to walk back to the dorm room, and yeah, but that was one of the more memorable things. And it's like he had me on leg press, doing leg press to failure, and then he was assisting me with forced reps. And I'm like, dude, this is just nuts. And so that summer was one of the things that set a bar for me for how hard I know I could work if I really wanted to. And so since then, my ability to push myself has gone up. And so it's been, also, he taught me squat depth. That was another thing. The only thing I remember is like, I was like, dude, am I getting low enough? He's like, he put his foot underneath me. He's like, touch my toes. And I just went down until I touched his toes and right back up. And that was squat depth. And so since then, I've been squatting ass to grass since, for as long as I can remember.
You need someone else's foot still, or?
Nah, I'm pretty good now. I'm using my foot for other people. I put my foot in there.
Zach is leaving out some stuff about. I just call it the blind camp. You're leaving out some stuff, man. I remember like the first night there, we were getting all hyped up about working out, and Zach had like a pull-up bar. I remember we did some pull-ups, and I was trying to like go ham. And I was like, Zach, dude, you gotta assist me right now. And I made him like help me force out some reps, and then I ripped ass straight into
yeah. I'm here holding his feet, ass,
dude. and then Zach. Okay, so then we started this whole thing, and I'll never forget this. Zach, my room started smelling so bad for a couple of weeks, man. I was like, what is happening? Like, it's so bad. And Zach had crammed like fish into the bedpost of my bed and just didn't tell me how the flies all around. Dude.
He put fish in your bed?
Yes, he put it in like the bedpost, like crammed it in the bedpost.
Wait a second. Idea. Hold on. I don't think that was me, bro. I don't remember that for the life of me.
Dude, no, it was
Zach,
I must have been in like a blackout rage or something about that fart in my face or something, bro.
Well then, okay, you might not remember this, but like, bro, I remember after that, I was like, I gotta get Zach back. So I like took a nice deuce in our little bedroom. No, that's not. And in the bathroom, because it was like a shared bathroom, where like one door open to his side, one to my side, and it was super, super hot. And I was like, oh, let's go to the gym. I went to the bathroom, closed my side of the door, stuck the fan out to like blow all this stuff on your side. And I didn't tell you what I did to like halfway through the workout. Dude, that was like good times. I don't know how you don't remember that.
I remember the dump. I remember the dump. I remember that one.
Let me get this right. You had no clue, so he just punked you for no reason. You're like, hey, bro, that wasn't even me.
Yeah. Dude, I don't remember the fish. I really don't. I don't think that was me. I think that was the person who lived in there before that.
Somebody got me.
Somebody got you, bro, and it was not me.
So
I would have owned that.
Zach the whole time.
Bro, I would have owned that. If that was me, I'd be like, me.
Oh, no. So I was just taking it all out on Zach, apparently. He got destroyed.
I'll take it, though. I'll take it, bro.
Oh, no.
But
he was a likely suspect. Well, I tell you what, that's one for the record books here on Happy Hoodlums, because I was going to say, Zach has just been flying under the radar as this good dude this whole time, letting me let out all these shitty stories about myself.
I also got to say,
but anyway.
One of the things that really blew my mind about Quentin, and this was like early on in Sweat, but he is the only person I've ever watched do a clapping push-up into a standing position. So he did a push-up. Yeah, first he goes, how many claps can you get when you do a push-up? And I was like, I don't know, maybe like 3. And I do a clapping push-up, and I get like 2, and I land. He gets down, and he pushes himself up and just starts clapping, and he stands up from a push-up position. So he goes boom right into a standing position and just starts clapping. Dude, I was just wrong. Did me dirty, bro.
All right.
But
So
that
there's
was
a lot of
mad
inspirational
impressive.
stuff coming out of you. You were like how old? Barely 18, maybe?
I was
like
barely 18.
16,
He was 16 at the time, I think. 16, 17,
All
something like
right.
that.
6, something.
Oh yeah, I think you
I don't
said
know.
that. Okay. Dude, so you were just killing it. How much did you weigh when you were in high school when you first got into lifting?
Well, he was a
Um,
wrestler too.
how much? Yeah, I was like, so by the end of high school, I was like on the 152-pound weight class. And I started high school at like the 132-pound class. And I started lifting in like 8th grade, and I think I weighed like 124 when I first started lifting. And now I think I weigh like 168 right now. And I got up to 180 pounds like was it 2 months ago. But when I signed up for my powerlifting meet, I signed up for the lighter weight class. I think I signed up for the wrong one, so I gotta finesse into the right weight class. Otherwise, I'll be with the big boys.
Oh man.
But yeah, I'm like
Well,
168 pounds now.
hey bro, walk us through talking about getting with the big boys, this path to 700 that you talked about at the intro. What's that look like?
So I have always wanted to deadlift 700 pounds. That's just been a goal. I remember I told one of my friends in high school that I was gonna do that, and like, dude, just so you know, if you can't do it, like, you're still a cool guy, all this stuff, and that pissed me off. Like, I just remember they told me, "Hey, if you can't do it, that's okay." And that's ever since then, like, that number has just been engraved. Like, they don't even know who they are. But I just know when I hit 700, I'm like posting it on my personal account. And like I know that they see my stories and they're gonna know they're gonna be like, who's this guy deadlifting 700 pounds? Like the dude you said couldn't do it. But like I've been working on that forever. And there was like what is it? In high school I was doing bodybuilding. And then like I didn't lift for 2 years. Like I went to do this like service thing for my church, and it was just doing body weight stuff. And when I came back in 2019, I was like, I want to start lifting again. Ever since then, like I've just been working on how do I get to 700, and I just hit what was it 635 a couple weeks ago.
That's
So I'm
insane to
getting
me,
That's
bro.
closer.
incredible. That's
Closer.
incredible, brother. I gotta tell you,
Yeah,
and
dude.
I'm by all means, don't tip your hat to yourself until you get to 700. But you're a fucking
No way.
stud, dude.
Animal.
What's crazy is like powerlifting specifically. When I was in high school, like deadlifting 585 would be just out of this world, just crazy. You see someone do that, you'd be like, this guy's a freak. Now, because so many people are getting into powerlifting, there's like dudes who weigh 20 pounds less than me who are pulling 800 pounds. And it's just like
Mhm.
every other day you see some new person. And it's just insane. So, yeah, obviously it's a huge lift, 700, no joke. But man, I've just been impressed too and motivated by other people who are just like taking the limits and just going way above where anyone thought they could go. So it's just been nuts.
Well, that's a testament to like how you've trained your mind to appreciate success. You know, that's a great like we have all these mile markers in like physical advancement. But
Mhm,
oftentimes we don't have enough attention that we pay to like the road signs of maturity within our
mhm,
mental game, right? And so like to me that just means that you are not challenged by competition because you're in a space of organic creation, like authentic
mhm.
creation where you can appreciate that you aren't that guy and that guy's not you, right?
Yeah,
And
yes.
I think that's stellar. So you got to give yourself props for that. And I don't want to gloss over the faith aspect of your life. So were you brought up in the church, and are you Mormon? Is that where your mission came
Yeah.
from?
Yeah, so I'm the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's like,
Hmm.
the full name. But yeah, I was brought up, both of my parents, they weren't raised and then like joined the church, and I've always been brought up that way. And it's been interesting because, there's a lot of flack that like members of the church get, and a lot of it is just people not understanding like what the church, some of the things that the church teaches, and there's a lot of like, obviously, if you know anything about Mormons, like Utah is like the hub, right? And there's kind
Hmm.
of almost like a different culture around there where there's just like everybody is part of the church, where it almost becomes like cultural. And I think that gets like a bad rep. And I've always been just a staunch believer in my faith is rooted in Christ, Jesus Christ, and becoming the best that I can through Him. And I found that faith through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So like when I served my mission, that's what it was all about. It's like all I wanted to do was help some people who wanted to hear about it find that same faith and just become better in their lives. Kind of like what Blind Barbell is. Like all I want to do is take these are the things that helped me and try and give it to people so that they can become better no matter what it is for me. And I understand that maybe things aren't going to work for everybody. Like just because I love sumo and deadlifting, that doesn't mean that some people are going to like that and some people are going to hate me for sumo deadlifting, There's a lot of
You
beef
know,
there with the deadlifters.
one of the things that I've really had to learn because I went through some injuries with an auto accident, and we
Mhm.
don't need to get into that. The point of this is that in the beginning, when a student is watching a master, even though the master is demonstrating a high level of exceptional skill right in front of their eyes, they don't even know what they're looking at. So before someone maybe falls in love with the sumo squat, they need to just do a regular squat, right? Or
Yeah.
just try the sumo squat, right? And as you're doing it, in the beginning, you need to fall in love with the monotonous part of it, right? Just that regular grind and repetition. And as you go, the nuances are going to reveal themselves to
Mhm.
you in the order that you need them, right? Because everybody's body is different. And it's really interesting because if you're taking this and applying it, because it's really a formula, right? If you
Mhm.
apply it back towards like faith, right? Just faith, push religion to the side and just go to faith, right? And I'm a believer in Jesus Christ as well. So I'll say that
Mhm.
right from the get, bro. My life is forever changed, and I don't shy away from telling people, um,
Mhm.
because it's like telling another homeless person where you found bread, in the words of
Yeah.
TD Jakes, right? But
Yeah.
for the sake of this, I'm gonna give you something that I learned from a Hindu temple and a Swami in the
Mhm.
Hindu temple, right? He said that religion is just like a river leading to the ocean, right? It's just a path, right? And
Mhm.
in that same vein, maybe lifting in and of itself is a religion for certain people. And I
Mhm.
think that if you work it, it will work for everyone, right? And that comes down to your belief. And that's why it's that same thing of like the deeper you go, the higher you realize you can go, right?
Mhm.
And so maybe like I'm just curious in your life, was there ever like shaky points with that in finding out that you are going to lose your vision, and at what age was it? You said you were a teenager, right?
Yeah. I think it was, yeah, I thought it was 13. 13. So like for me when it comes if we're talking like the faith side,
Mhm.
um there's a time I think it's a necessary part of like evolving as a person, evolving in your faith. Um I when I got the news, I was sitting there and I remember like, man, like why would I be losing my vision? That doesn't make sense. And, asking God like, why is this happening? And I remember at the time, I was able to, I kind of like had this vision of what the future could be, and some things shown to me that gave me just an unshaking, undeniable truth of I just knew everything was going to be okay. And I
Mm.
also understood at that point that my problems were very small and that I could help people, you know, through their problems just by doing the best I could with what I had. Even with vision, without vision, even if I had full vision, it didn't matter. And that God was going to take care of things. And if we just do your best every day and really genuinely try to come closer to Him, everything's going to work out. And I think ever since then, for me, it has been very easy to keep that faith. Um, because I just know everything's gonna be okay and that everything's gonna be taken care of. And sometimes that's harder for some people to have, especially when they have really serious things happen. Um, but I just know, and I just can't deny the experience that I had. That just gave me so much confidence in the future. And things have happened since then that have only validated that. So, but yeah,
S- So, are you saying that acceptance and surrender to being obedient to your path in order to find your purpose has
yeah,
been what evolved you? Oh my
yep,
gosh, so it's a formula, right? We can look at
yeah.
everybody's life. So, but now we need to delve into your unique experience. What
hmm
what were these things if you're willing to talk about them? This divine
Yeah. So
intervention.
so basically, for me, I was just, I was praying. I believe in praying and talking to God, and I was like, hey, I trust you, and I know that everything's gonna. I feel like everything's gonna be okay. But I'm just wondering why it's happening because there's a few things that I really want to see in my life, and I want to experience, and that's like, I want to be able to see my wife on her wedding day. I want to be able to, be with, watch my kids grow up. I want to be able to see my kid take his first steps. And that was when, I kind of had this. I was like, his voice was like, "Hey, everything's gonna be okay." I just remember seeing my hand out, and like my kid, like just taking the steps towards me, and it was just said, "You're gonna see everything that you need to see. It'll be okay." And it was like just since then, and watching my daughter take her first steps, and like reliving that experience, just knowing that was it, was just. I mean, I can never take back that. I never take back that testament that God cares about me. So that's
So
where that came from. So
God gave you a premonition, but did you actually see it like in your mind's eye, just like when you have a
yeah,
daydream, like you could visualize it? Is that how it came to you? And did it come
yeah.
with a feeling? Like uh how what was the feeling? Was it visceral?
It was like, dude,
Like
it
a
was kind of
tug from
funny.
the
Like,
inside?
so here's the funny part. So I had a little more vision back then, and like when I saw it, like there was like a little bit of like fuzz kind of around, and what was shown to me is the vision that I have now, which I think is just kind of funny. It was like I was like, God's like, yo, you're gonna see it. But you're not gonna see it. This is how much you're gonna see. And then I remember kind of just seeing like the shape and the colors and things. I won't get into like little details. I just not important. But yeah, I liked my daughter. I saw the hair color. Those are things that I really remember, and just that feeling of just confidence. It was just, you're okay, buddy. Chill out. Trust,
Wow.
and it'll be okay. So
Bro, I'm so happy that you said that word of confidence and that, true like faith is a knowingness that really gives
mhm.
you confidence, right? But it doesn't come with no vision, right? And for you
Mhm,
to
yeah.
be able to say that as the blind man, blind Barbell, right?
Mhm.
Now on this side of it is like, bro, that's a part of your testimony. That's your torch that you
Yeah.
got to carry. Just like I told Zach, I said, Zach, bro, like, do you know how cool it is that you're a blind cameraman? Do you know how sick that is? Like that God would take and give you like a very um unorthodox path, something that's like really so contradictory, right?
Mhm.
Like that's why like you guys are superheroes to me in real life. And I think everybody is in their own way if they're willing to
Mhm.
delve into it. Um before we get into this next piece that I'm gonna ask you, and Zach, at any point, interrupt the shit out of me, okay?
I'll
Um,
interrupt you now. Uh,
okay.
to kind of like you talked about like wanting to connect with people and everything, but we haven't talked
Mhm.
about what your specific condition is.
Mm.
Mhm.
So if you want to talk about that, give us a little bit of insight on what
Yeah.
it is exactly that you're dealing with.
So I have something called Azor. It's like acute zonal outer ocular retinopathy. Um, I'd love to give a ton of details, but they don't know very much.
Okay.
It's it's an eye virus that some research is coming out to show that it might be autoimmune related.
Mm.
But if anyone knows anything about retinitis pigmentosa, it behaves basically like that. It deteriorates starting with, the peripheral vision. And then the weird thing about Azor is like it was a study I was looking up today. It was like 1 in 3 people actually got some sight back or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which obviously not me, but that's kind of like what it is. The tricky thing though is the the guy who was like did the diagnosis happened to literally be studying that eye virus. So, and because it's so rare, part of me in the back of my mind is like, man, what if I just have retinitis pigmentosa? But this guy has this guy living right in his backyard who happens to have the super rare condition he's studying, and he's like, man, this is close enough. We call this guy Azor, and then I'll have another data point. Not saying that's what happened, but like that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, what if I'm just a normal RP guy?
Yeah.
I'm just one of the basic people with retinitis pigmentosa, and it's not this weird virus. Because low key, when they told me about it first, they're like, it might be related to herpes. And I was looking up something today that said it might have something to do with syphilis, and I was like, what the hell? This is not.
Yeah.
It just gets worse and
What
worse
is
and
going
worse.
on? So a part of me has always been like, man, I hope I just have RP because this is kind of weird. I don't know what's going on, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I have.
dude, that's interesting. So, for people that have like never heard of this and this is their first time, like they can imagine just how shocking it would be to have any kind of like physical symptom, such as like your
Mhm.
vision actually changing. And you said it changed from a football game. So that was something that happened. You just got hit and was like, oh
Like,
shit, I don't have peripherals
so
or what?
that's that's when I found out that it was a big problem. So here's why I think it might be retinitis pigmentosa a little bit. Is
Okay.
our or Azor is something that's like a virus you get when you're like, I think it was supposedly I got it when I was like a teenager, got really sick, and then boom, it hits, started losing the vision. But yo, I remember in 3rd grade, the teacher was talking about birds, and the teacher was like, dude, like birds, they can only see what's right ahead of them. They can't see on the outside. It's like, just imagine, to like tell those little kids, sit there and just imagine what it's like to not see anything on the side. I remember sitting there as a 3rd grader, just like thinking, like, dude, nothing's changing. Like, I'm trying to imagine not seeing anything on the side and nothing's changing. And it's like moving on from that, but I've never forgotten that memory. I'm like, dude, what if I really just couldn't see the whole time? Like in soccer, I was on some competitive teams. I was pretty good. But I got moved from offense to defense because they told me I just never knew where to pass the ball. And as I've like kind of started to put things back, I'm like, man, what if I just couldn't see? I thought I sucked. I just
Oh,
didn't pay attention
man.
to things, and I just couldn't see the whole time.
Wow. Fuck.
So yeah.
Dude, look, I gotta tell you, you are one of the best personalities we've had on this podcast. Like in 3 seasons, and for you to be the first guest this season, bro, I gotta salute you. Now, my next
Gotta start off
question
with a
is,
banger.
Yeah,
yeah,
honestly.
right, for real. So I'm curious, where did your wife meet you along this journey? Like, how old were you, and how did that come into play?
Oh no. Okay. So my wife and I met at BYU, Idaho. So if you know anything about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that's like a mecca almost. Like all the
Yeah.
kids, you want to get married, you go to BYU, Idaho. It's called like BYU I do to a lot of people. So I was here. I had gotten back from my church mission. I was like, I was trying to date, and for me, something that's really important is faith, and I wanted to find somebody that was in the faith. It
Mhm.
makes things more cohesive, right? So that was a priority for me, and there just wasn't very many options here. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Idaho. I'm gonna take the plunge. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go live in -4 degrees for a while, and have more options for the kind of people that I really want to date. But it was like also like when COVID was happening. So I moved to Idaho, and like everything is shut down. And there was like this app. It's called Mutual, and it's like for like LDS people, Mormon people. You're like on this app, and it's specifically for like members of the church. Usually have the app. And I was like in Idaho, so that no one was using Tinder or Bumble or anything because you're at a church school. They all had this mutual thing. So I was like, I'm on mutual. I remember swiping, so that was the only way to meet people because everything was closed down. And I saw my wife, and I remember like I accidentally down swiped. I had like deselected her or whatever, and just having this feeling, I was like, oh crap. I feel like I feel like I messed up there. I like swiped down on literally everybody to reset the cycle, because like it would reset after a while, and like found my wife again, and like up swipe and got a match, and then like we met, and then like 50, what was it, 50? It was 80 something days later we were married. It was like
Dang.
it was
Dang.
quick. Yeah. But yeah,
Yo,
she met me and she's been nothing but supportive.
that's incredible. So I have a question, and like I'm naive to this. Is dating
That's okay.
different being blind? Like,
Um,
how is love different for you? Because I know even just on like a homie level, like Zach and I being doing like film stuff, right? It gets dark out
mm,
and all of a sudden it's like, or like we're guiding each other. I'm like helping him go through a warehouse, with him on my shoulder. And that's
yeah.
a different experience that like you don't typically have, right? So I can only imagine like with your wife, that's got to be totally different for you. Like, what was your first date like?
So our first date was so my wife actually has you okay, tell them about your stuff. Cool. So my wife's got some autoimmune issues. So she's messed up too, right? So our first date, I can't drive, obviously, in the middle of Idaho in the freezing winter. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go pick this girl up. We're gonna go to this ice cream shop, but we have to walk. And it was like got dark at like 1 p.m. whatever. So I go pick her up, we or walk to her place, and she's like, she offered to drive, but I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna walk. And she weighed like 85 pounds back then. So you had a bunch of health issues going on, and we're walking in like negative bajillion degrees. And I'm like running into her the whole time because I'm trying to see where she is. And I remember we just talked about like old plays and musicals the whole time. Then she's sitting there, we're eating this ice cream, she's like freezing out, and we walk back in like the dark, and I don't know, it was just a great time that I felt terrible because I found out she had all these autoimmune issues, and she felt bad 'cause she's like, man, he can't drive because he can't see. And here we were walking like a couple miles in the freezing ass cold
To
for
get
no
some
reason. But
fucking ice cream.
it
You're like,
was
my wife's
no
gotta be a
idea.
trooper, okay? We're going to
Yeah,
Antarctica to get some ice cream.
she was it was the ice cream was really good, but when it comes to like everything else, I'll tell you, my mom told me this when I found out I was going blind. I was asking her, I was like, Mom, when it comes to like, being like intimate in the future, like, is that gonna be like I'm worried about that. My mom and I have just always been able to talk about everything. And
Mhm.
she gave me the advice. She said, listen, most of that thing is by feel anyway, so you're gonna be fine. So when it comes to that stuff and dating
Mhm.
and marriage, no problem. No
Nice.
problem for the
Well, I
blind
mean,
homies. We got that on lock.
yeah, dude. Apparently so. Some straight
Two
shooters
kids
out.
in already, you know what?
That's what I'm saying, son. Well, I salute you. That's way cool, dude. And look, I've never actually heard of an algorithm like resetting or whatever, or like the deck reshuffling past all the no's. So I don't, and like in Utah, do you know how many Mormons you just had to swipe through to get back to her? Like
Dude, I
that's
know.
a
Honestly, it was intense. It was like so I like did little things where reset the algorithm for you. Like I like so you can I like change the age range up to like an older age to like make it less people to have to swipe through because like it was it's kind of a janky little app because not very many people are really using it. It's like I
Mhm.
try to like get it to where I could do it pretty fast. I kind of like move the age range up, got to where it was like a small people, and I just boom, 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 just sat there. I was like watching a YouTube video till it reset, and then was like, "Let's go!" And then I had to like down swipe a ton more people till she popped up again. But it paid off. It was pretty
Of
nice. So
course. So
That's awesome, dude.
yeah. And again, Zach, interrupt me at any point.
No,
But
I'm enjoying listening, dude. It's good.
okay, I also was perusing your site and found something else other than the
Okay.
like braille design on the boxers. That's freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, but I saw your programs and I couldn't help but looking at like the price, at how
Mhm,
truly generous that was of you when
mhm,
clearly we've seen the results of your programs, right?
mhm,
And I'm curious if those are really to provide at a very entry level, like low cost for people, and if you have plans on maybe either doing one-on-one coaching as your career kind of progresses and might come into a different stage of life, or if you're looking to go to more advanced courses of what you know. um,
So that's actually an interesting question because I've been thinking about that a lot. I've I just want to create things right now that people again, I think about myself when I was 13. What is the biggest bang for my buck that I wish I had? You know, and like I have my free program and stuff. But I'm honestly thinking about getting rid of the site and just moving towards like a subscription, like just on Instagram and just a $1 thing where someone could just sign up and just have all my programs there that you can just screenshot. And honestly, if someone screenshots them, save them somewhere else, and someone can just access them, like I really don't care because I don't. The more I think about it, I don't really want to make my money from like selling programs. I just want that to be out there so that someone can go learn how to train a little bit and go ham. So it's funny that you kind of asked that because I just want people to be able to train. And the money for me right now is not a huge thing. I'm not really generating anything right now.
can I tell you something?
And
That's why you
yeah,
deserve more money, bro.
yeah,
Right there. That's why you are such a valuable person. That on the flip side of that, it's like good people, if given more good opportunities, which is what money represents, will just do
mhm,
more good with it, right? And so
yeah,
and that's no knock to anyone else, but people, I think having something for that entry level of investment, like, and continuing to give of yourself very freely, like, by all
mhm,
means do that. And I don't want to turn this into like some kind of business seminar or whatever. I just think like great people need to leverage um, what they have in such a way that they can make a greater impact. And
mhm,
people just don't respect what they don't invest in, right? So you got to get
mhm,
people at all points, and you'll figure out how to do that on your own, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
all I'm saying is like, if that's the way that you're going, I'm excited for whoever is
mhm,
blessed enough to get into your higher level programs. Because when you have a
dude, yeah,
higher level program, they're gonna be so valuable. You're just gonna be turning out Dragon Ball Z fucking characters. You know? It's like looking at what you do,
what's
I'm like,
crazy though is like not to interrupt you, but it's crazy though. It's
yeah.
like it takes a special person to train somebody. Like me personally, I've trained a couple people. I don't really like that. Like one-on-one training with people. I just like setting an example and just going hard because what I love is I love training. I don't like training other people. I love training. So like that's part of why like my programs too. I'm using a coach right now. One of my best friends from high school is getting me ready because I can put together a decent program, but there are people who could do it so much better than me. And I don't honestly, I don't want to waste anybody's time signing up with me when I could give you something that's free or very low price that's going to give you a ton of value. When me myself being your coach, I would hate every minute of it. You know? So it's like figuring out what I can best do for people is give them a low option, and if they want to support me, sweet. I think I might have to move to like a low cost subscription. So hey, if you want to support me, go ahead. But all I want to do is help you. So that's it.
That's sick, bro. And
That's awesome.
again, this is a let's circle back to how authentic you are. Like, what a fucking gem, dude. And pardon my language, I'm gonna try and cut that out so you can
It's
use
okay.
whatever you want. I don't want anyone to catch a clip of this, you know, and have the saints after me. We don't
Hey,
need
no, it's
that.
fine. If you record me in the gym, that's when you'll hear everything. So
Okay,
since I got my daughter sleeping in the other room, I got to keep it nice and low key.
I appreciate
Can't have
that,
her.
bro. But for real, like that is such a genuine place to come from, to really consider other people equally to
Mhm,
yourself, right? And that's where like so many people aren't balanced these days. And that's one of the
mhm,
skills that I've really seen come from a prayer life. And one of the things that I've been flirting with the thought of for a long time is teaching people like how to have a relationship with God, because it's
mhm,
really in the beginning, like, and I feel like the way that we are taught prayer language is like asking for favors, or like, oh
mhm,
crap, I'm in the middle of something that I don't know what to do, right? But that's a very like transactional way of being, right? And
mhm,
it's like God really just wants to like have a relationship and really be a friend. Just like if you had like a perfect dad, it's like
mhm,
they know that you're going to screw up. They know you're going to like skin your knees while you're learning how to walk, and they know you want a Ferrari, right? Well, I want to give you a Ferrari, but I can't give you it while you're 6, right? I got to wait for you to mature
mhm.
there, and I need you to understand what I need to do to get you there, and
Yeah,
really respect correction. And that's where it's like that surrender gets you out of that, like surrender to the path, gets you out of that victim mind state, and gets you
mhm,
accepting that I don't need the path to get easier. I need to get better,
yeah.
right?
I think too, like, so this is kind of something I've thought about a lot. Is like, obviously when I served my mission for my church, I came up against a lot of people who just wanted nothing to do with religion or anything. When they try and bash down God as much as they could, and I understand where they're coming from. So I always try to think about how can I explain things from a completely secular, mindset. If you're trying to introduce someone to prayer, and do you guys know Alex Hermosi? Probably
No.
do. He's got the beard. He does a ton. He's got some really awesome business stuff. But he talks about this practice that he does where he talks to like his older self, like himself years and years from now, and tries to get some feedback from him. And sometimes I think that like trying to explain prayer to someone who just doesn't believe in God, what I like to think about is like, hey, you can think about God as the best version of yourself, the absolute ideals of yourself years and years from now. And that person just wants to give you the advice and the feedback and the direction that you need to help you get to the happiness and the joy that they have that they want you to have. So like you said, like a father, right? So it's like when you're talking to God, it's like, hey, God, I know you want the very best for me. I know you want all these things. Sometimes I don't believe in myself and that I'm even capable of that, but I know that that's what you have in store and that you can offer me. How can I get there? How do I talk to this person like a mentor almost? Because I feel like for some people, it's hard to wrap their heads around sometimes a being that loving of them or some having that much knowledge. I think it's so important for someone to understand it's God is someone who wants the absolute very, very, very best for you, wants to help you get there, believes in you, and maybe needs you to give your best because as a father, we could talk. We have our kids. As a father, I just need to see my daughter succeed. Because I believe in her so much, and all I want to do is give her everything that she needs to succeed. And I think that's like where prayer comes in. How do you talk to that being? How do you talk to God? How do you talk to your future self? Like, yeah, I kind of ranted there, but those are things that I just think about all the time. How do you connect with that, and how do you conceptualize? Because it can be hard for people who just have no concept.
Well, it's interesting because I'm learning sales in real estate,
Oh,
and one of the things that they
exciting!
said, one of the things they said truly is like whatever's on somebody's mind is what's going to come out of their
Mhm.
mouth. And so the
Yeah.
fact that you kind of like go to that place, you're saying it in many different ways. Like this message
Mhm.
is also being spread not just by what you say, but who you are. And
Mhm.
everything that you're putting out is really expressing that, So trusting that intuition that you have is like got to be number one because you're coming from a really pure place. And like,
Mhm.
even if you listen to like, I love biographies and people's stories and stuff. And so if you look at like music, and I remember like Nipsey Hussle having an interview where he outright said, like, man, why I made it with this rap stuff is I was coming from a really pure place. Like, my life
Mhm.
might have been built in such a way um, that was like fighting me, and I had to give up all of how I was living and got used to living, and put the streets aside and really just go, away from that kind of hustle to a pure place where I was about the craft and giving
Mhm.
this craft and this message through the craft. And so like that's also been done by, like the Beatles, right? They're one
Yeah.
of the most prominent examples of that. Or like the Rolling Stones. All these you can trace it through like iconic people in culture. Jimi Hendrix,
Mhm.
really just allowing in a psychedelic state, through just pure connection, this wonderment, to be
Mhm.
expressed through his guitar. So I just got to really commend you on that, and I'm so excited for what's gonna come because I know this is just like scratching the surface for you, and it's really an honor that we got to have you here. And that's not me closing out or anything. That's me just telling you from the bottom of my heart, like I've met a lot of people, and it's a rarity when I'm floored, like truly like floored, bro. And so like it's cool to meet you at this stage because how far you're gonna go, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm truly inspired, and like you got that starstruck in me
Mhm.
right now, bro. Like I fucking
Catch me
salute.
catch me while I'm growing, when I have 3 billion followers, you can say that you knew me from the beginning, so it's a good place to
Hey,
be,
bro,
right?
you better invite me to hang out. I'll let I'll park my cars fucked up and let you lift them out of wherever they're at.
Nice.
By then, Zach better be able to get the front side, and I'll be like, yeah,
Yeah,
these are my blind bodyguards. What, son?
and Zach's not gonna be able to help out until he can bench 2 plates, so
I
you gotta
know.
get
Come
working,
on,
boy.
bro. You didn't have to out me like
Yeah.
that. I'll get there. I've gotten every other like gym bro base level goal of the deadlift at 4 plates and the squat at 3. But I'll get the 2 plates eventually.
Dude, start doing I know you've been doing some home workouts, start doing some clapping push-ups, like, like touch your chest to the floor clapping
Mhm.
push-ups,
Yeah.
and get 30 in a row, like, really explosive, and you'll probably be able to hit 225.
My big problem, and so I've been doing deficit push-ups a lot. Um and
Mhm.
so like getting that full stretch because my biggest problem is off the chest and the transition from chest to like tricep. So it's like that middle point. So it goes here
Mhm.
and every attempt that I've had, I get up to like right here and it just stops. Like there's a wall where my tricep would take over. It just doesn't want to. And so I go, "Ugh," and I'm like, ugh. So I gotta like train like the middle section right here. But I'm gonna try
Do
that
some spotto press. Do some spotto press.
I've
That's where you
tried those
stop it,
too.
like, 2 inches above your chest,
Yeah.
and then, if that doesn't work, there's tren. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
I'm gonna have to start doing that. Honestly, I think I have no other option other than some like tremboloni sandwiches and but no, I'll
Hey,
get there.
who are some people that you follow on Instagram? Who are some people that
Me?
inspire you?
See, let me pull up my list. I got a few people that I'm following right. Let's see. So there's a couple guys I really like. I want to make sure I get their usernames right and stuff. There's actually this guy who's really been popping off recently. His name's Coach Ryan Patterson, and he's just all about like make training fun.
Mhm.
And I just love that. Like that energy is kind of the same thing that I want to put out. There's a guy, his name's Marcus Hunt. And he's been doing like he ran was it, like 26 or a marathon every month last year, but he also deadlifts over 600, over 700, which is just like, oh my
That's
gosh.
wild.
And he'll do that like Friday night. He'll like on Friday night he'll do his meet, his little mock meet in his house, deadlift over 700, bench almost 400, squat over 600, and then run the marathon the next day. And it's just like insane. And
That's
then
insane.
there's Jesus Oliveras. It's just an absolute monster, best powerlifter in the world right now. Kind of debatable. He's in my opinion the best right now. He's also got a really strong faith base. Drives him forward. I just really like he just pushes as hard as he can. So those are some of the people that I follow. That I just really like their attitudes, and that for me is like, being someone who lifts pretty seriously and generally knows how to lift. I'm not necessarily following people because I want to learn how. Now it's like I want to follow somebody who just has an authentic passion and drive, and that's what I've been looking for, and that's why I follow specifically those people. I follow a few more people. Those are the ones who really stand out to me right now.
Did you ever get into like old school bodybuilders, or like
Oh,
was bodybuilding ever a goal, or was it really
oh
just you
yeah,
love to lift?
oh yeah. So bodybuilding, I watched Pumping Iron as many people do, and fell in love with the bodybuilding to start. Because who didn't want to attract some girls when you're in middle school, high school? Um, so I love Franco Columbo. May he rest in
Hmm.
peace. Absolute legend. That's another reason 700 is a big goal for me because I know he deadlifted over 700. Arnold and just has done some amazing things. Um, there's a few old school guys. There's like Francis, what's his name? Francis Ben Fato was like a really short guy. He just had a crazy aesthetic physique. So, but yeah, that old school bodybuilding roots. Love that stuff. Not a big fan of Mike Menser. I know that he's gotten a ton of hype recently because of his
Hmm.
really high intensity workouts. I never really liked his physique personally. Tom Platz, who
Yeah,
just absolute monster. But
Golden
some of those
Eagle,
old school
baby.
guys, and then you have like some old school strongman. Oh, what's this guy like?
Like
Something
John Grimick.
Sass. Ah, Samson. This guy named like Samson Sass. Oh man, this guy was like a crazy strong man. It was like 5'6", 165, and just did the most insane like circus trick stuff, like hang a piano from his mouth kind of stuff. Like
Oh damn.
just crazy stories of people like
Yeah.
that make you go, what were people eating and doing
Hmm.
and like back then? So I just love those kind of guys, just like no excuse kind of people.
Yeah, dude. See, I was asking that because like my grandpa was like a silver era bodybuilder and stuff, and so
What?
like, yeah,
What's his name?
bro, Frank Ficara, and he used to
Frank
lift with
Fakara.
like John
Okay.
Grimick, and I have like a ton of correspondence between like him writing John Grimick and all kinds of like old magazines and signed all different types of stuff. Um, there's another
All right, how
dude
do you
that had
spell
a
Fakara?
Ficarra.
I gotta look this up right now.
I've had his
A
pictures on here before, so I might be able to text it
get
to
mine.
Zach and see if he can pull it up.
Dude, you're gonna have to because trying to pull up my phone right now, obviously with the low vis. I'm looking
Yeah,
at it
that's
now.
all good.
Send me the link, man. I gotta check it out.
I will.
That's sick.
Um, but yeah, so that was something where like, okay, you might like this. This is the kind of stuff that they had to go through. Um,
Mhm.
he started lifting like during the Great Depression and coming out of the Great Depression, right?
Oh
And
my
so they would
gosh.
have to at that time, because bodybuilding was so like looked down upon and there were no gyms. There were no
Mhm.
gyms. Like there were little hole in the wall joints where people would get together and just do whatever they could. And so they would jump the fence to like job sites and steal the rebar and
Oh my
concrete
god.
and have to mix concrete into coffee cans on the ends of the rebar, and that would be their weights, and they would have to hide it in the
Oh, that's
snowbank
awesome.
in New York, like back in the day. So this is like super
That's
old school.
awesome.
Yeah. So interesting, kind of piece of history in that era because it was people that really were about personal development and so ahead of
Mhm.
their time in the lengths that they would go to make that possible. And it's
That's so
interesting that it was
crazy.
a counterculture, right?
Yeah, I know. The rebels out there getting huge.
Mhm. But I know Zach had written down some questions, and I want to make sure that we address those before we go too much farther or take up too much of your time.
I actually had no questions written down because I knew we were gonna flow so well on this.
My man Zach,
There we go.
yeah.
And it covered pretty
But
much everything that I would even ask about. So I think I think we've
yeah.
done a good job
Sweet.
at keeping it going.
Is there anything else that is at the top of your mind or top of your list priority wise? Like if you all the goals that you have, right? If you attained
Uh-huh.
all of those, what would your impact, like if you had to be remembered, what would you want it to be? The wake of your legacy.
I mean, I just want people to remember me. Honestly, doesn't really have to do with me and like lifting. It would be just as a good dad. Like that's the biggest thing that I want to be remembered for. 'Cause I just love being there for my kids. So if nothing else, if at my wake, right, people are gonna say, "Oh, like Quentin was kind of a douchebag, but hey, he was a dang good dad." Like that, I would be fine with that. That works for me. So that's but
Dude,
yeah,
That's awesome.
that's what I want. So
I all right. I just gotta say that's where we're gonna wrap it because I'm gonna close with this. If anyone heard that and doesn't want to donate to your cause, they need to slap themselves and look in the mirror and rethink what they want to be and what their legacy should be. Because if everyone can handle that in the same spirit that you live and give to people every single day and give your best, bro, this world's going to be a much better place. So, Quentin, thank you for coming on. It's been an honor and a
For
pleasure.
real.
If you ever want to come back and promote anything, you are super welcome. You got an open door. And keep being a stud. You are truly a man of God. All right?
Gang.
Peace.
thank you.
You are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two flavor flavors.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa.